What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode on EI Entertainment Studios, back at it with another debate video. Today's debate video, we're going to be talking about Snow Godzilla versus Shin King Ghidorah. So here's the plan, folks. We're going to go over Shin King Ghidorah's backstory, characteristics, abilities, basically all the specs, and same thing with Snow Godzilla. Once we're done with both of these two giant kaijus, we'll put them up against each other in a death battle. So, without further ado, let's begin with the backstory of Shin King Ghidorah. Shin King Ghidorah came to be when aliens who had the power of time traveling were able to travel back in time to godzillasaurus and pick up the Ghidorah babies, as known as the Dorats, and time traveled them back to 2016 and replaced the existence of Shin Godzilla with the three Dorats, so the nuclear waste would be present to the Dorats and not Shin Godzilla. Until this very day, Shin Ghidorah reigns as a king. So that's the backstory that I came up with for Shin King Ghidorah. Now the height of Shin King Ghidorah is approximately 192 meters tall. Abilities, here's the plan. I'm going to quickly skim over the abilities. We're going to finish off Shin King Ghidorah. Before we move on to Snow Godzilla, I'll do a deep analysis, but for right now I'm going to do a quick skim, okay? So abilities goes as follows: Death Ray, Eye Lasers, Wing Blast, Adaptation Ability, Space Impact, Tail Flesh Ripper, and Negative Gravity Beam. Aggression level is high, Territorial level is high, Biome is Earth and Space. Now I will explain Earth and Space, why it's Earth and Space, the biome, in the ability section, because it's going to be connected to that. Now let's go back to the abilities. Let's do a deep analysis of Shin King Ghidorah's abilities. Let's begin. First we have the Death Ray. Basically this is just like the gravity beam, but it's a bit different. It's like the gravity beam and Shin Godzilla's lasers combined with the two DNA whole point, because remember, Shin Godzilla was a creature that got exposed to the nuclear waste, where in this case the Dorats were exposed to the nuclear waste. So all the abilities that Shin Godzilla got, King Ghidorah is able to take in more. So it's more of a drastic difference of the same abilities. So this Death Ray is like a atomic laser, but what it does is it actually kills organs and cells. That's why it's called a Death Ray when it hits an opponent. It doesn't just damage, it specifically kills organs. So if it shot at the right spot, it could potentially kill a pretty weak opponent, right? So that's the Death Ray. Next we have the Eye Lasers. Shin King Ghidorah can shoot eye lasers from between the eyes. And they're very strong, but nothing special. They just rip up flesh, though, if you don't consider that special, so it's up to you. And then we have the Wing Blast. Now this is a very, very powerful ability. So Shin King Ghidorah obviously has two massive sized wings, okay? And basically she can shoot wings all throughout the body, and it's just gonna rip up the flesh of the opponent massively. Next we have the Adaptation ability. This comes from the Shin DNA. Remember, when Shin Godzilla is able to evolve and adapt from changing forms, Shin King Ghidorah can actually adapt and evolve and change forms if he needs to, right? If it need be done, it will change forms. After that we have the Space Impact. This is interesting. Shin King Ghidorah can actually control gravity in a straight line. And if wanted to, Shin King Ghidorah can actually direct a meteor or a meteorite onto the opponent and hit them. And it's going to cause a lot of damage. That's what the Space Impact ability is. We also have the Tail Flesh Ripper. This is very interesting. The end of the tail, where Shin Godzilla actually had a face, this is a bit different for Shin King Ghidorah. He actually has very, very functional, sharp teeth that rip up flesh, and he can use that as a third, or not a third, but a fourth head. That's quite interesting. And finally, we have the negative gravity beam. The negative gravity beam does this. When an opponent is standing somewhere and Shin King Ghidorah actually uses the negative gravity beam, what happens is at that specific area, let's say 60 meters around the opponent, gravity gets cancelled and they start floating around and they can't control themselves what they're doing. So Shin King Ghidorah takes this into an advantage and uses any ability that he wants and absolutely destroys the opponent. And basically, folks, that sums up Shin King Ghidorah. Now let's move on to Snow Godzilla. Snow Godzilla is a creature that lives in a different dimension, and when Konbu Tunnel has released a large amount of glowing particles that creates a chain reaction, it sends Snow Godzilla to the location of where the animation took place, basically the film. So we don't know too much about Snow Godzilla, as I've said before in other debate videos, because he is quite a new character. We do know that he can actually travel from dimension to dimension from these particles, and we're going to assume that these particles are always active and present when he's there. So abilities, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to skim over them real quick. Massive amounts of strength, atomic breath, regeneration, and teleportation. Territorial level is medium, aggression level is maximum. Biome can survive in different dimensions because of the particles. Height is 118.5 meters tall. Okay, let's go back to the abilities now. First off, we have massive amounts of strength. If you ever take a look at Snow Godzilla, he is huge and very bulky and massive. So that really amounts to brute strength. He's very strong and his body supports that weight, and he will be able to ram into his opponents with very high levels of power. Going from that, we have the atomic breath. Very powerful atomic breath, can rip up flesh easily, very, very easily, and just spill blood everywhere, right? And then we have regeneration. Snow Godzilla can definitely regenerate health levels, but not at a fast rate that I would like it to be. But it's a bit slower, but he still can. So that's why we will include it in the ability section. Finally, we have teleportation. Assuming that the glowing particles are always with him, he can actually teleport anywhere around fighting his opponent. He can actually teleport dimension to dimension, and location to location. So assuming he's fighting Shin King Ghidorah, he can actually teleport behind him and freak him out, right? And then do a sneak attack. Alright, folks. Well, that sums up everything. So, let's go to what we've all been waiting for, the actual battle. So, let me explain this really quick before we do actually begin, though. We're going to go best out of two, close range and far range. The reason why I do close range and far range, because close range, well, it's a close range battle. It's what any monster battle would look like. The question is the far range. The far range is a way of leveling out these opponents and limiting their abilities and seeing even if their abilities are a bit limited, would they still be able to survive. It's a great way to test out their functionality, actually. So we're going to do far range first, and then the finale will be close range. If we do go to a overtime, I'll explain that, but no need for that right now. Here's the rules for far range. These opponents have to be 700 meters apart. They cannot come closer than that. So, we're going to see what abilities Shin King Ghidorah can or cannot use when it comes to far range. So, Death Ray, yes. Eye Lasers, yes. Wing Blast, yes. Adaptation ability, well, defensive, yes. Offensive, no. Space Impact, no. He has to be very close to the opponent for that to work. Tail Fresh Ripper, obviously not. Negative Gravity Beam will not work. Okay. And then for Snow Godzilla, Mass amounts of strength, well, defensively it could, offensively it could not. Because remember, we're 700 meters apart from each other here. Atomic breath, of course. Regeneration, defensively. Teleportation, you can teleport around, but can't come close 700 meters apart. Can't come close. But you can teleport left and right if you wanted to, technically speaking, but I don't know why we would do that. Anyways, that's it. Let's begin. I think, and I believe actually, that Snow Godzilla will begin this battle, or we could say initiate this battle, with an atomic breath blast at Shin Ghidorah. Or you could call him Shin King Ghidorah, whichever makes you happy. We'll just go with Shin Ghidorah now. It's easier to say like that. I believe the atomic breath, the first time Snow Godzilla uses this, it's not gonna do, well, it'll do a bit of damage, but nothing too severe. It'll do two things to Shin King Ghidorah. It will actually stun him and aggravate Shin Ghidorah. And I believe as a response to this, Shin Ghidorah will actually use the Death Ray on the hand of Snow Godzilla and completely kill off the left hand of Snow Godzilla. And as a result, we'll start going back and forth. Remember, Snow Godzilla can teleport back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, but can't come closer. And it's really gonna throw Shin King Ghidorah off, right? It's gonna throw him off. And when he finally stops teleporting, boom, atomic blast. Teleport again, boom, atomic blast. Teleport again, boom, atomic blast. Teleport again, boom, atomic blast, right? Back and forth. And he can actually get Shin King Ghidorah like that. Until, because remember, when you're teleporting, you're still there. You're just passing through time really quickly. So, until Shin Ghidorah uses the Wing Blast, where he gets a big range, he's actually gonna get Snow Godzilla in the middle of teleportation. He's actually gonna get him there, and then he's gonna actually fall down. And I think, just because Snow Godzilla is so limited on abilities here, I believe that Shin King Ghidorah, throughout all these waves, Death Ray, Eye Lasers, Wing Blast, Adaptation, I think all of these will overpower Snow Godzilla in far range. So I believe that Shin King Ghidorah will actually kill off Snow Godzilla just with the Death Ray and the Wing Blast. That's my opinion with that. So we're gonna give 1-0 to Shin Ghidorah. Let's go to close range. Now, when we begin close range, let's take this into consideration. Shin King Ghidorah is actually 192 meters tall. Now we'll look at the difference. Snow Godzilla is a little 118.5 meters tall, so a bit smaller. But remember, King Ghidorah is always usually bigger than Snow Godzilla, or any Godzilla in general, right? I believe they'll go face to face and just blast at each other, right? Now, let's take into consideration that Shin Ghidorah has way more abilities at the disposal of Snow Godzilla. Whenever Shin Ghidorah starts using the Death Ray, it's going to be more powerful because it's closer range, more impact. So immediately Shin King Ghidorah is going to start killing off organs from Snow Godzilla. Although those are going to start to regenerate slowly and slowly, Snow Godzilla, I believe, is going to use the atomic breath, just abuse the atomic breath back and forth, just all over, and just blast Shin King Ghidorah. But remember, Shin King Ghidorah has the adaptation ability, where eventually he will adapt to a point where the atomic breath has no effect on him because he will evolve to a different level. And evolution helps, right? In the sense of the Shin DNA. So, with that being said, I think because of that adaptation ability and changing with the atomic breath really has no effect on Shin King Ghidorah, that's when Shin King Ghidorah is actually going to get Snow Godzilla with a negative gravity beam, going to cause him to float and then just use the Death Ray and the Wing Blast and just, or even just use a space impact and crush him with a giant meteor and then just close the deal off with a Death Ray. So again, I just see Shin King Ghidorah winning at 2-0. 0. Obviously, this is just my opinion. You can debate me in the comment section below if you would like. Thank you so much for watching. The winner is Shin King Ghidorah at 2-0. Thank you, and as always, have a great day.